Hey everybody, so in this video I'm just going to help you get started on assignment 3, how to sort of pick a title block that you like and then how to start making it and then how do you print. So I'm going to start making it, I'm not going to finish it, but I'm going to get you started on one example and then I'll show you how to print, but it'll be up to you to pick a different example or whatever the case may be and then finish the whole thing and then of course print it. Okay, so what I've done so far is I've just started a AutoCAD file. I've saved it. I've called it Kevin Kinney Assignment 3 version 1. I've changed the units to architectural. That'll be a big deal. Okay, so make sure you do that. Otherwise, you're going to be set to decimal. You're going to run into issues. Architectural is what you want. Right now, let me close this. I'm going to open up my layer properties here. I've got one layer, layer 0, which is what you start with all the time. I'm going to make a new layer and I'm going to call it no print. Okay. And I'm going to change the print setting, get rid of the little printer on the end there, put that little circle and line through it so I know that anything I put on this layer, it won't print. So just something to know about layers. If I double click on this layer, the green check moves to it. That means I've switched to that layer. And you can see up here, it says no print now too. Likewise, I could just switch it up here. So this is what I'm used to up here. So I'm just going to switch it, no print. It already was set to that, but I'm just proving a point there. There it's changed again. So the first thing I want to do is draw a border for the sheet size that I'm making a title block for. In this case, it's 11 by 17. So I'm just going to make a polyline, 11 high, 17 wide, 11 down, and 17 over. In the assignment sheet, I also say that I want you to have a 1/4 inch margin all the way around your sheet, okay, before you make any title block. So I'm going to offset this line by a 1/4 inch. So I have an 11 by 17 with a 1/4 inch margin. Both these lines are on the no print layer. Now, for my example, then I'm going to sort of get started. It's this one on the left. The title block is located on the bottom edge, and it's sort of located with these 3 chunks of information. Okay, so I'm going to start with first deciding how far up the 11 by 17 this should be. I'm thinking about 1.5, 2 inches. Okay, so I'm going to look at my sheet here. And I'm just going to maybe make a line over here. That'll be a line that I get rid of later, but I'm just going to make it over there to sort of help me visualize it. So I'm going to copy this up 2 inches. Okay. And maybe I'll bring that line over. Okay. So this is where that would live. That looks a little big. Maybe I'll move it down a 1/4 inch, 0.25 inch. Boy, that looks so much better. Okay, that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is move this line over. I'll get rid of this one. So all these lines right now are on no print. That's fine. This is just the bones telling me where to put things. Maybe I'll even change the color of my no print layer to something. Oh, let's do cyan. So I know that these lines aren't printing. And if I want to draw some other ones in there that do print, there's a differentiation. So I know that my title block is going to live in this area. Okay. So if I go to that example again, I see I got 3 chunks with a break in between. So let's see. Here's a good way to do it. Maybe I'll make a line. I'll divide it into 3. And then I'll put a line where that division is. And then I'll offset that line to make these white space areas. Okay. Might sound a little complicated, but let me just show you how I do it. So this line, for example, that I drew there, I'm going to divide that into 3. div for divide. Select the line. Oops. There we go. Selected the line. Enter the number of segments, 3. So let's see where those points lie. So here's 1 segment, 1 segment, 1 segment. There are my lines in between. So what I'm going to do is maybe draw a no print line right here from that point to right there. Okay, now if you divide a line and you don't see the points, remember how to change the points. In my case, I don't see them, but you can select them to see them. So key type is how you change those points, right? So mine is set to the dot. You can choose any of these other ones. I'm just going to keep it on the dot. Likewise, if you want to be sure to be able to snap to those points, you might want to double check your snap settings, which are located right here. And you want to make sure node is checked. Okay, if it's not checked, when you draw a line, it won't snap to that point. So I've got 3 equal spaces down here. Now I want to make some I want to make here's what I want to do. I want to sort of define this little white space chunk and this little white space chunk, so I know where to add this information, and this information. I basically have put a line right in the middle here, so maybe I'll offset that line a 1/2 inch on either side, and that'll give me an idea of where that white space should live. So let's try that. Offset 0.5 inch. Here, there. I'll delete this line. Now I have a sort of the bones of where things should be. I should have information in here. I should have information in here and information in here. Right now, everything is set to no print. Okay, so let's start with these 2 bold lines. Okay, so I'm going to go back to CAD. I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to call it thick lines. I'll set it to white, and I'll change my line weight to something like 0.02. Okay. Make sure my print is set to on, because I want this line to print. And then I'll double click on it to get on that layer. So I'm going to draw one of them right at the top here. Okay. It looks like there's no thick line, right? Because my line weights are not turned on. Okay, so I could go over to my customization button over here. Make sure line weight's checked, which it is. So that means the button is down here. Now I just have to turn it on, and now I see my line weight. So I have one thick line in there. Let's say that one. Now I need to copy that down so I can put my name, my company name in there. So let's do that next. So I'm going to go back to CAD, and I'll copy this down. Well, let's see. That looks good. So about 1 inch. That's too much. I'm going to move that up. Maybe 1/2 inch. And I know I'm being picky, but I'm going to move it down to 1/4 inch. Okay, so I'm going to put my company name in between those 2 lines. So how do I do that? I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to call it text. Okay, I'm going to change my line weight back to default and hit OK. Okay, I'm going to go to my text button up here and do multi-line. And I'm just going to do it up here first, and then I can move it down when I'm ready. I'm going to do something like that. I just made a box. I have no idea how big it is. And I'll call it Kevin Kinney Design. Okay, so I wrote that out. Now I'm going to click. Now look how like weird that looks. I don't even know what font it is. I'm going to go back in there, double click on my words there, highlight it. Okay. I'm going to go to the font here. I'm going to pick something that's reasonable. Oh, how about Tahoma? It's a little boring. I want to do, how about Franklin Gothic? Is that in here? Franklin Gothic. And yeah, I'll just do Franklin Gothic. I'll put it on bold. 3/16 looks reasonable. I'm going to move it down here so I can get a better idea. Okay, so maybe I'll double click that again. Maybe I'll do, I want to center that. Make it a little bigger, 0.25 inch. And so what I've done here is I've centered it here. I went over here to change the size of it. And let me just put that, let me just click in here now. Let's see where that is. Okay, so if you center it, what you can do is grab this button kind of on the left. I'm going to position it right on the line there. Now I'm going to grab this guy and position that one right on the line. Then it really will center right in this space. Now I can move this up or down on the line, but I'll leave it right where it is. That's pretty good. I'm going to change the font size to, let's see, 0.3 inch. Bigger. That looks pretty good. So of everything on here, this is the only thing that's going to print right now. Kevin Kinney Design. That is on the wrong layer right now. See, it's on thick lines. I'm going to change that to make sure it's on text. And these are on thick lines, so that looks good. Okay, so I've placed some text in there. Now I'm going to go back to my example, and it looks like I have left align text here, right align here. Maybe I want to do Kevin Kinney bold, and then design could be lighter, just like this one. Let's see if I can do that. So I'm going to double click on here, grab the design, and just I'll unbold that one. It's okay. Maybe this wants to be some other Franklin heavy. Let's do medium. Demi. That's cool. Yeah, I kind of like how that looks. That looks pretty good. So how about on the left-hand side, I'll put, let me look at it one more time. Looks like email, phone, or website, phone, email, maybe. Yeah, website, phone, email. So let's add some of that. Let's do the website first, then we'll do email over here. Okay, I'm going to go back to my, so I'm going to go to another text box. I'll do Franklin again. LMNOP. There we go. Franklin book, I guess. And I'll do WW. I switched it up here by accident. F. Franklin book. Let's do Madison College.edu. Okay. Oh, you don't have to put Madison College. You can put your own website if you want. I'm going to change this to 0.125, which is a little smaller. It already is left aligned, so I'm going to fit that down here. Okay. Maybe that needs to be even smaller. 0.125. Yeah, 0.1 looks good. Now I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to right align it, and I'll do K. Kinney 4 at Madison College.edu. That's right aligned, and I'll move that into place. See if I can get this somewhere in the same world. Move that up, try to get that aligned with it. And then I'll move it to the right. Okay, starting to look pretty good. These are both on the wrong layer, so I'm going to make sure they're on text. Okay, or I could have selected them and put them over, change the layer here. This one is on thick lines. This is on text as well. So I like how that looks. That's looking pretty good. This has some information in the middle, but I'm going to ignore that. And then I'm going to add maybe, say, my office information here, and then maybe a phone number over here. Okay. So let's do that. So maybe I'll copy this up. I'll put it like right here. I'll call this like E1675 Truax. I'm just kind of spitballing some info there. So I'm going to move that up a little bit. And I just hit enter to go down to the next line. So it's multi-line text. So that looks pretty good there. Then I can add more information there. So as you can see, this is quickly becoming my own. And I'm sort of just using this as a template, so how I could potentially lay it out. So there's other interesting things in here, like the small text here describing what this information is, small text here describing what that is, there and there. And that same motif is sort of copied over here. Small text something, small text something. And maybe you don't have all the information like this, but some of the information. So you can sort of break this up how you'd like to. But I liked this one, so that's the one I choose. You can, of course, choose a different one. So I would just keep going and keep breaking this out and making a really cool title block. Now, when you're done, here's how you print it. Just like we've done in the other examples. I'm going to go up to here and go to print. Now I'll set this to Adobe PDF. I'm going to change my paper size to 11 by 17. For what to plot, I am going to go to Window, okay, and I'm going to select the upper left corner of my no print border to the bottom right corner of my no print border. I'm going to center that on the plot. I'm going to uncheck fit to paper and change this to 1:1 because I'm printing exactly 11 by 17. And I'm going to make sure landscape is checked. And I'll just hit preview so we can take a look at what would happen here. So hit preview. There we go. So the no print layer is not going to print for me, but I can see that the text layer is printing and my thick lines layer is printing, so I can get a sense of what is printed right here. So that looks really good so far. So I'm going to add that other information in there, and then I'm going to save this PDF, and then that's what I would turn in for my assignment. So I'm going to hit escape from the preview there. So I just hit escape. So these are the settings that you'd want to choose to make up that title block. I hope this is helpful. I'm going to cancel this, but once you make the PDF, that's what you'd attach to Teams. I hope this sort of gets you started and gets you thinking. Definitely start with your 11 by 17 border. And of course, as you work through this thing, hit me up with questions, and hopefully this will get you moving. All right. Talk to you soon.